Jack, let's see if your memory's still sharp here. Another Tuesday.
Another pod.
He has got it. He's got it down pat. That is Jack, who is with us virtually today. And me and Kyle are in the studio here for today's pod. We are going to talk mostly about the MLW Tour. Of course, that dropped on the MLW channel last Friday and highlighted our entire 2023 campaign, from out-of-state events to tournaments to collaborating with one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform, and even our national championship events. So pretty much a year in review. A great video, a lot of good feedback on it. So we're going to break down some of our favorite moments, as well as get the behind-the-scenes look into the editor's chair from Kyle's perspective. After that, we will get into a comment of the week, and then we'll conclude with a bit of an update on what's been going on behind the scenes with MLW. So without further ado, this is the Pipe It Up Podcast, and cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up Podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. And we have the commish in studio today, not Jack. We do have Jack on Zoom, but Kyle is in Jack's chair today, or assuming Jack's role. Jack, thank you for joining us. Kyle, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you, Jack, for leaving the seat warm for me. It feels great, as always.
We're still warm from last week.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's always a little hot down here, is it not, Jack? Actually, it's been cold this winter.
It is.
But I get warm. You know, I get a little nervous, I think. All the people watching, all these new viewers we have, I get a little nervous down here, you know?
The bright lights, man, it warms everything up for sure.
It does. I feel like Dallas Allen out here. The bright lights come on. I don't know if I can handle it. You know what I mean?
Oh, come on.
Hey, you're looking at a guy who hasn't made the World Series.
Fired.
You're looking at a guy who hasn't made the World Series since 2017, so I can't handle the bright lights either very much. Clearly, look at me down here. I'm sweating. But first things
Fair
first,
enough.
Jack. The mock draft seemed to be a pretty big hit. I'm not going to lie. People seem to enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, I felt good about it, that episode when we did it. I thought people would appreciate it and, you know, just drum up some conversation in the comments section, which I think it did. There were definitely some consensus guys that slipped, I think, a little bit late in the draft, which is always cool to see, you know. I think it's no matter where you ended up on that draft board, I think you can use it as kind of fuel to the fire, unless you're Ryan Cratch just being taken number one overall. But yeah, it was awesome to see all the engagement, and glad that people appreciated it.
Yeah, I want Kyle's take on it, but it was funny because amongst the comment section, the one player that was name dropped over and over and over again as being snubbed was Jackson Pearson. And in hindsight, I think I agree a lot with that. And what's funny about it is, Jack, I don't think I told you this, but that morning when the audio version of the podcast released, but the YouTube video is not up yet. So for those of you who don't know, the audio is usually up at like 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Video is 4 p.m., so the audio is out first. So a lot of our MLW players, big fans of the show, thankfully, they will listen to the audio version early, Tuesday morning. And I forget the second player. It might have been Dallas, but I think Jorgensen was the first one to text me around 8 a.m. saying, how in the world is Jackson Pearson not drafted yet? And I was like, didn't think much of it at the time. And then 2 hours later, Dallas texted me saying, it's the third round and JP's still on the board. What's going on? So those two, before any of the comments said anything, those two were already in my ear about it. So it was funny to see the fans react the exact same way. I think I agree with them, but
I like the video. I think it was a really cool idea that you guys came up with. There's a couple teams that stood out in my mind. I think that one with Jimmy and Sailor, and then I forget who rounded it out.
There's Cheatham, Sailor, Jim.
Flynn was on that squad, I think.
Flynn, did you get Flynn on there too, Jack?
I'm not sure, but you had.
That was I got Flynn.
Yeah, I like that squad. I like your squad, Tommy. I like how you were with Jordan and
the
Sawyer.
D-backs offensive dynasty right there.
Yes, I'm not sure who rounded out the lineup.
It was me, Robles, Sawyer, AJ, and Rudy.
Yeah, AJ. Oh,
solid.
I really liked your AJ pick there. No, but it was cool. I thought it was pretty even draft. Like, if those teams were legit in MLW, like, any team could beat any team, kind of like how it is now.
Well, I have some graphics. If you guys have not seen them, I have posted them now that this is out. So go over to our Instagram at Pipe It Up MLW. Jack, this will be news to you. But our good friend Sean, Stats Sean, he's at Sean References MLW, did do a little bit of a deep dive on the teams, Jack. Did I tell you this yet?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I was hoping he would.
And I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but I sort of remember. As expected, the number one ranked team was the Wildcats with, I believe, expected win percentage of .611 was the expected average.
Yeah.
And they had the best World Series average, or best World Series odds at around 3-1. The worst, Jack, was actually not the Eagles. It was the Predators.
Yeah.
It was the lowest ranked team. He had them.
Was I on that team?
I think you were on that team.
You
That
were
was the
on that
lowest ranked
team.
team.
You were the first pick
I think the
of that
concern
team.
there was the pitching. It was the pitching. No offense to
No,
Kyle, but
I think Jack drafted that team because I was friends with Alec and I always wanted to play with him and Jonah.
yeah,
It was a chemi. It was a
chem
chemi
squad.
draft, which I like. But I guess our fans didn't appreciate that.
The bullpen on that team, I mean, if we're calling spade, let's call a spade here. Not the strongest.
Yeah.
That being said, what doesn't get taken into account as much in Sean's stats are just the pure heart and the chemistry.
Mhm.
And so that's what that team was built on. And at the end of the day, Jonah would have to become a major force for that team's bullpen for them to be successful. So
Can Hart win you games, Jack? I'm not sure that it can.
Hart,
I mean-
it definitely can win you games. It definitely can win you games.
Okay. But yeah, that was the
Like when
lowest
you're
ranked team.
down, 2-0 in like a World Series,
I walked
all you
right
got
into
left
this
is
one.
heart, man.
I walked right into this one.
Hey, that team's got rings though.
They do have
Jonah,
rings.
Alec,
Yeah,
me.
a lot of rings. I forget who 4 and 5 were
Experience.
in that squad, but they were all
Yep.
good teams. And once again, I'll pop up the graphics so you guys can see them here too now. But it was interesting too because there wasn't like a huge skew, Jack, in records. Like we didn't have a Gators 2023 situation where there was a squad with 3 wins, for example. Everyone was between like 9 and 6, and I want to say 5 or 6 wins minimum. So it was a tighter bunch as expected because we did a current even draft. So you'd want to see that sort of thing. But even the Wildcats
Yeah,
at best, like
yeah.
I said, were a win percentage of .611. So not like an insanely unbeatable squad,
Yeah, I got some good feedback from some players as well. Grant texted me just he thought it was such a cool episode, and I asked him how he felt about the Cobras, and he said he felt solid about them. I know that when we were talking on the pod, we had a little bit of concern there with, I think it was the 3rd pick. We kind of left. That was another pick again where I left JP on the board, left Waylon on the board, and he still was confident though. He thought he could get a ring with that team.
I like it. I mean, any of those teams could have beat any of those teams on any given day, in my opinion. And overall, I just had a lot of fun with it, like you said, Jack. The edit really wasn't too bad
Yeah.
either, which was cool. Somehow I didn't screw up. And I want to know from the fans, what do you want to see next along those same lines? Is it another mock draft? Is it something totally different? I don't know, but I feel like we did kind of kill 2 birds with one stone there, being we did some sort of mock draft, and then we also, in a sense, players were sort of ranked by Jack and I. Did we screw up a few times? Of course. It was just our opinions, but
Yeah.
it kind of knocked off both those things. So I know one other popular request was to do mock trades. So maybe we do that, Jack, in the coming weeks. I'm not sure.
I'm down. I think
So-
that's a great idea.
I don't know, but I think it was interesting.
It was.
It was
How's it performing, by the way?
good. It was 2 of 10, I think.
Okay.
2 of 10. It's pretty solid.
It's always good.
We've been having some good numbies around here these days, huh?
We love numbies. We just
Love
love
numbies.
numbies.
And
Smash the like button.
smash
Subscribe.
the like button. So glad you guys enjoyed that one. And if you haven't seen it already, I definitely think that's a podcast worth going back to if you're hearing this now and wondering what we're talking about. So
If there was ever a Pipe It Up episode to watch on the YouTube channel, it's this one, folks. So please go check it out.
I agree. But let's transition now into the latest MLW Wiffle Ball upload. It had been some time because the previous upload was the award show, right? So it had been about a month or so. And it was finally time to release the 2023 tour video. Much requested, much demanded for all those, especially that attended any of the events. And what a great vid. I'm sure you're happy it's finally out.
Definitely. Took a long time to edit and gather all the footage and make my selects of the best of every single one of the events. Stemming all the way from April and the Mark Grober shoot that took place, I think, that first week of April. And then the final event of the year was the Texas Rumble in early December. So I think it was between like 15 and 20 different trips. And
God, that's
I know
so many.
and trying to put that into a 14-minute video, including all the bloopers and everything, to make it as watchable as possible, I think was definitely the move, as opposed to going like a 40 to 1 hour type video. I think it's an easy video to go back and rewatch. Kind of like is the approach I took last year too, and it performed better, and people really liked how fast paced it was. I think it's a cool video too to like just show anybody that may not be too aware of what we do. It kind of gives them like a good sense of like the variety of events we do and things we show up for. So I was happy with it. I think it's doing well. I made sure to get it cleared by Mark Rober, which was cool because I remember he was telling me everything that was filmed there. Like we got to run it by him to make sure he likes it. So he gave us the green light, said it was a good edit, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it went up on Friday.
I want to ask, I know Jack has some questions ready for you, but I do have one thing I want to ask because I think everyone wants to know this. Basic question, but I know what the people want is how many hours do you think it took you to edit that video? Everyone wants to know that question.
I don't know. Like, so was it like a month of editing just in terms of days?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's tough because some days I won't edit at all, and some days I'll edit like through the night.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe 100 hours total.
100 hours.
Like if you're talking about importing all the footage and sifting
that's
through
the worst part about editing.
Of footage.
The worst part about editing is just the not editing part of it.
No,
Importing footage and exporting footage is like, the worst.
I had to watch every clip I shot, every event.
Mm-hmm.
And that took so long.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually probably took
that's crazy.
3x, if not more, the time I was actually like cutting.
Editing. Yeah. I gotcha.
And that's probably 3 times the amount that it takes you to edit like a normal series video, right?
Oh yeah. And plus there's like with a series video, like you have a structure. There's really not a lot of structure to this video. Like the pace of it was changing, and like, you know, the beginning and end of each event could have been so like there could have been a lot of variance there. So it was a lot of just like feeling out the best parts of each event and then figuring out how to just package that with some nice music and graphics, and really just ultimately just deciding on what the best parts about each event were. And putting that in its little segment, which I do like how I did this year too, where I kind of broke it into 4 categories. It wasn't truly chronological, so I was able to group like events together, and kind of I kind of like that change.
Yeah, that was the one big change from last year.
Yeah.
I liked what you said about you know, for the people out there that might not necessarily know exactly what we do, it's a good video for them to kind of learn. I would just build on that and say, looking back at it from someone who is involved in the league, it's just really cool to see how much more of just a wiffle ball league we are, like, and how much other stuff we do and contribute to. It's just really cool to see it, and always like these videos every year just always make me so grateful to be a part of the league. So I just wanted to note that. But then also, on the Mark Rober, so I'm going to put myself on the hot seat a little bit here. I did not watch the Mark Rober collab video immediately when it came out. In fact, I waited till probably about maybe 3 weeks ago to watch it for the first time.
Okay.
Doubling down on the hot seat, before we did this collab, I actually had no idea who Mark Rober was and didn't know why we were really collaborating with him. Now, after watching the video, I saw why and just how cool of a collab it really was. I really liked the video. Like, I liked his style. It was entertaining. It was interesting. It was cool to see like our guys, you know, interacting in that type of video with him as well. And you kind of mentioned a little bit in the tour video, you know, what it was like filming that experience, but I kind of wanted to just ask you to expand on that. Like what, like if you could just go into a little bit more detail on that shoot and Mark, like what was Mark really like off camera? And kind of like, how does their production process compare to ours? Because obviously it's on like a much different scale.
Right. No, Mark's a really smart guy, and what I love about him too is he actually will have the general idea of the video. I just listened to a bunch of podcasts of him recently, but he'll usually have the general idea of the video, and they'll go out and shoot everything. And he always mentions this. The last thing he always shoots is the intro. So he can package the video in a way that's going to entice people to keep watching. So we knew what the general concept of the video was. Like I said in the video, you know, Mark has a very fond memory of playing wiffle ball as a kid and engineering and science background. And he wanted to see if he can put his contraptions to the test against us, the MLW players, and beat us in a game, which, yes, it was kind of like, you know, modified and little played up like a movie, which was insane to experience with their crew and producers and cameramen, like I said. But we went out and shot it. Mark's very particular about each kind of shot. Like he has very specific shots he wanted to get. I mean, he went all out and got the best drone pilot in the world with Nurk FPV, who we had on this podcast. Great dude.
That was sick.
But he's just a really driven dude, and I don't know. You can add on this too, but he was just so focused in Oklahoma, and like he would do whatever it takes if it meant staying up till like 2, 3 a.m., which we all did. Like for the specific shots that we needed, like we would do that. And he would just go all in. He would attack the video from multiple different angles, like as you saw in the video. The actual Mark Rober video, like he would go to the San Francisco Giants stadium in the 1 hour we had there. Like not only did me and Jimmy pitch to some guys in the Giants personnel, but we went inside to the clubhouse. He interviewed like their pitching coach who knew all about the science of baseball, and just jam packed as much footage as he possibly could in that time span. And it's something too that his whole crew was doing. They were filming all the time with iPhones. They're big cameras, but they were just getting so much on footage to the point where they could package the video in so many different ways, which I really liked. And I guess, once everything's shot and they go back in the post-production, they can figure out what's going to perform best with the content that they produced. So, I mean, he's an A-list YouTuber for a reason. He was just on a stranded island with Mr. Beats. I don't know if you saw that last video.
I didn't watch it yet.
But he was funny in that video, and it's just a privilege and an honor to shoot with him.
It was cool.
So how far, sorry, Tommy, but
No.
like how far, because you mentioned, just how like driven and focused he is on the actual shoot and the production. But I don't know Mark, but I think that you guys are the same way, Kyle. When we're shooting a video, it's similar in my in my perspective too, watching you do it. But I understand that the scale is much different. So like from what we do at MLW compared to like what it took to shoot that video, how big is that gap?
Honestly, there's a lot of similarities there. Like, I don't know if you've noticed me, Jack, but before like opening day or All-Star Day, like I'll have a handwritten script, or not handwritten, but typed out script that I print out that I'll like go to for certain shots, and like the intro that me and Tommy need to touch on and all that kind of stuff. They had a script that they needed to touch on and make sure they were not forgetting certain parts of the shoot, some drone shots they needed, some B-roll shots. And at the end of the day, they're shooting a video, but it's work they need to get in. Like, it's the same type of vibe when I go to the Meadows and you see me just like running around. I obviously can't like chop it up with you guys as much as I would love to, because we have to just get stuff done. So that was kind of the same vibe as Mark, and I was just trying to pick his brain for like different angles we could maybe shoot something at, or something cool happened. I was like chiming in on how we could build on that, and like I was on, like, it was so cool to like see him like be receptive of my and like everybody's ideas. It was a collaborative environment, and I think that's something I always like to do at the Meadows too. Like if somebody's like goofing off in the woods or something, like I'll get a shot of that, and then I'll be like in the B-roll, or I'll be like, oh, you should just do this, and then come out and like strike this pose, or like just blade scream the camera right now. And like we do all these things in MLW that it's like very adaptive, and I think Mark is also very adaptive, even though they come in with a plan and like an actual script. So there are some similarities there, and I don't think it's like too far off than like the vibe than when you would like go to the Meadows to shoot a regular series. But curious your opinion on that, Tom, too. Did you kind of feel the same vibe of like it was fun, but like we we knew like the implications of what this video would be for us and like for him, like, they have so many guys on payroll, and they have a whole studio, like they need their videos to perform good in the same way in which we do if we want to grow. So yeah, it's fun, but at the same time it's work, and like a lot can be riding on these shoots.
Yeah, I don't even remember what your original question was, Jack, but I will say that I didn't feel out of place.
Yeah.
Like I've never been on the set of like a Hollywood movie or anything, but it didn't feel like that. Like it wasn't overwhelming. It was definitely a higher budget production than what we do, but in terms of like equipment, it wasn't like crazy. They did have more personnel there, and I'm sure, Nurk, of course, is a big addition there in terms of staff and a resource for filming. So that was a big step up, having Nurk present, just the guy in that industry.
Yeah.
But their team wasn't too big, the equipment wasn't too crazy, and they'll still do things for convenience sake, like use an iPhone because of just how simple it is. So if things are happening in real time and you can't be moving a giant tripod and giant camera to get a certain shot. Like they do have a guy walking around 24/7 just with a phone so he can get everything. So that surprised me a little bit, but once again, that's not a slight to Mark at all. It was just not what I expected maybe. But like Kyle said, I mean, they're pretty meticulous, but it's the same way we are, and I'm sure it's the same way on a Hollywood movie set, because you have to be, because like Kyle said, your time is very finite at these shoots, and you have people from all across the country in one spot for one night. You got to get what you need to get, or you're not going to have the video you want. So it's as expected. You know, you don't expect anything less when you're working with someone with that caliber, and even us at our stage, which is 10% of that, are doing the same thing, or 1% of that even.
Also, Jack, just touching on when we went to his Crunch Lab studio, which I like to call it like his evil little lair. You walk in and it's just like a dozen engineers just like tinkering on little trinkets and gadgets and all these little engineering things that just blew my mind. And it's the most unique creator studio, because it's not like everybody in there is a content creator. Everybody in there is an engineer, and they're making stuff for future videos. I think I probably told this on the podcast when the video just came out, but Jack, guess how many videos in advance that Mark and his crew were working on when I was there back in April?
Well, from what you guys have told me, and what I saw on his channel, I don't think he's really he's not a every Friday uploader by any means, and his videos take a lot more than that to go into. So I'm sure he's probably planning out videos like almost like a year in advance, maybe. I would guess maybe 6 months.
Really good. I mean, he told me they were working on videos, 14 videos in advance. Wow. and that includes just, you know, blueprints of designs they were trying to make for the videos, and like actually like guys like metal working, like welding in there. And 14, it's unbelievable. And a lot of people don't know this too, but Mark actually edits his videos. He has an assistant editor that like sorts footage, I believe, but he's actually in there doing the cut and actually doing the storytelling. So I find that very admirable as well.
So I think he probably wouldn't have posted that video if he wasn't pleased with the end result of it. But were you guys both pleased with how that whole thing played out and the final product of the video?
Very much so. When it came out, I was like, just please, like, let's just have this not be Mark's worst video ever. If it's that, then I'll be good. And fortunately enough, this was actually Mark's highest viewed video in 2023. So
that's crazy.
That's like unbelievable. That's like unreal. Us doing a collab with Mr. Beast and the Mr. Beast video being the best in his entire year. Like, it's that type of scale. Like, just unbelievable. I think what helped too is it was a baseball themed video that came out in like June. So perfect timing. Everybody killed it from our side of things and their side of things, and it just got a great response.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Definitely surreal. You know, you're tired doing these things, and we're traveling, running around, trying to get ready for our own season while also managing this video too. So one of those things where you're there and you're doing it and you can't really believe it, and then you watch the video back and it's validating that experience actually happened, and you just make all that up and dream it all in your head. So it was cool. My personal highlight was there was one shot in there where, like the team told me, okay, when there's like a ball in right field, you're going to be trying to score, obviously, if you're on base. So, but he has a cannon out there. So like be prepared for that. So when and they're like, you know, play into it a little bit. So I had to have like this big dramatic reaction at home plate. And when I got thrown out by Mark's wiffle ball cannon, and I watched it back on the monitor with their producer there after we shot. And he's like, dude, you killed it. And I was like, thanks, man. Thanks. Like, I'm not an actor, but I appreciate that. And I watched it back and I thought it actually looked pretty good. I thought I sold it pretty well.
Dude, if you look at the behind the scenes of like any movie shooting, it's the same vibe.
Yeah.
Like dude, there were so many shots we just did over and over and over again. Like a slide into third or like a hit ball in the center field.
Oh, yeah, I also got a compliment on my slide, too, because I slid in once. So that was not scripted.
And Mark's like, oh, that
looked nice. So I slid again.
And that made the final cut.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That was funny.
But yeah,
That's awesome.
It's just cool.
You spent enough time behind the camera acting or not acting. You probably feel a lot more comfortable than most other people would. So
I'd like to think
to
so,
it,
but definitely wouldn't say I'm a great actor per se, but I was happy that I was told I did well in the dramatic reaction at home plate. At least it was just one take. It was one take.
You played the part. One take, man. We love one takes.
One take.
In this
Alec
industry, we
Warda
love one takes.
We do. But it was just a cool experience, Jack. I don't know what else to say. I think anyone who watched that video and heard us talk about it before and talk about it now, and then seeing our behind the scenes footage from the tour video, it's just cool. There's one word for it.
It was cool. Highlight of the tour.
Cool. Yep. Moving on.
Cool.
Next stop on the tour, the out-of-state events. We've already talked a lot about all of these, really in their own pods.
Yeah, yeah.
But one thing I'll highlight again is just because it made the final cut again in this video was my Philadelphia home run. Another cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to compare that. Selfishly, I'll tell a story here, but fun fact about me, guys, I played baseball for how many years? Too many. I mean, T-ball probably started when I was like 4, and then all the way through varsity in high school when I was 18. So was that 15 years, 14 years? And I never hit a home run over the fence in baseball ever. A little guy. And I'm stronger now than I was back then, but still. But I would like envision or I'd like have a dream about like hitting a home run in baseball and like what it would feel like in that moment of how surreal it would be. And watching that ball go over the fence, the scoreboard in Philly was very similar to that, where it's like, I'm running the bases and I'm like, did I just do that? Like that actually just happened? Because I wanted to hit a home run so bad in front of the crowd, but then to put one over the scoreboard like wasn't on my radar.
Yep. And
I remember just like looking, I didn't even see it finish flying, but I remember looking at the trajectory of the ball and I'm like, over the scoreboard, and I was like, nice. I just kept running. So that was funny, but it felt very like out of body, I guess, to put it that way. It did not feel real until like 5 minutes later, and I was talking to Davenport, and I was like, that was sick. That was so cool.
It was an absolute bomb. Absolute bomb.
It was.
I'm glad it made the cut for the tour video.
What a moment.
Yep. Had to make sure I highlighted, the best parts about each and the summer stadium slate. And, I think a big thing was just how we're kind of entering like the live ticket purchasing event space. Like
1,000 tickets. That was sick.
Yeah, we had 2022, it was a couple private shoots, like the mini MLB in 2022, World Series. Like we just had the Toledo thing, which we dipped our feet in, but we continued to grow in 23, and then hopefully, make it, even bigger in 24 and beyond. But
it's all just stepping stones.
It was
Shangri-La, Toledo, just like a ladder.
It's weird to call like a year you play it in like Mercedes-Benz Stadium like a transition year, but like in terms of the broad aspect of like the company like breakdown, like I think it was kind of a transition into hopefully like I don't know. It's
evolving.
It's evolving, and I think we left off at our best event. Like in terms of the World Series, where we had the video boards on, merch, concessions. Tickets were bought well in advance. They had a Falcons ticket connected to it. Like that's like the standard. Like I something like that where it's it's so formal and we work with great people. I guess just what I'm trying to say is like I think that's the standard for us moving forward. Like I want every event to be so high caliber to wow people when they come in and when they leave.
I have one more comment too. Just this applies to the tournaments also, but I'm thinking about a specific experience from one of the out-of-state series. Just all the fans you meet that bought tickets and came out, and they tell you their story about how long they've been watching for and all that sort of thing. It's always pretty sweet. Probably the highlight of everything.
Yeah.
The reason I bring that up is because even though the Philadelphia series happened when? Late June?
Yep, June 24th.
Like 2 weeks ago on one of our podcasts, Jack, there was a comment from somebody, and I happened to click on his profile, and he had pictures from the Philadelphia event. And one was with me, and like the caption talked about meeting me and how cool it was, and meeting Robles and that sort of thing. So you forget about every single person you meet and how many different people you can impact.
Yeah.
But then when you just read one person's caption, it reminds you of the hundreds of people you had the chance to impact over the summer, which is pretty cool.
100%. Yeah. I was lucky enough to be a part of my first out-of-state series this year with the St. Louis series that also happened to be our most attended live event yet. And that was just so awesome. Just building on what you said, sitting on the field and signing autographs for like an hour and a half as 500 plus people came through. And, just having a little conversation with everyone and getting to see, young, old, like all types of people that watch and appreciate our channel and were willing to come out and watch us play. It was just such an electric environment. And it's cool. It's cool to be able to look back on that. Again, I kind of agree with what you said, Tom, where just that whole those experiences just go by so fast, and you do appreciate it while you're experiencing them. But to be able to look back and be like, dang, that was crazy. You know, that was a lot of people that came out to see us play. We put on a show for them, and yeah, it was awesome. Got lucky that we made it to the World Series and actually got 2 out-of-state series this year, but those two series were different in their own rights for sure.
Mm-hmm. I want to hear your opinion on this too, but it's very similar to when you're playing in a game. Like when you're meeting and interacting with the fans, it's the same sort of adrenaline rush and like blackout type thing to where you don't remember all the little details, so you watch it back later because you know, at least from my perspective, you know how much each interaction means. Every moment is so important for everyone there, even though it's your 2 hours of time meeting and greeting. Every 30-second chunk is that one big moment for each person you're talking with. So you're locked in. You're so locked in. And you meet so many nice people, nice parents, nice kids, and people with their own, like I said, their own unique stories. And you make a unique connection there for a short period of time with so many people that it is cool to stumble across, you know, a legit experience sort of written down from one person that makes you appreciate those interactions you get to have.
Yeah, I guess I'd say the one downside, if you want to call it that, is just we don't have more time to talk with, you know, these people that are paying their hard-earned money to come out and watch us play and meet us. And, you know, just in the brief interactions we have with everybody, like hearing about when they started watching us and like from parents, like saying that it's so cool. Like I can trust you guys with the content you produce of putting it in front of my kids and just how happy it makes them. Like that's the best thing ever.
That's definitely one thing that's not good about getting bigger is because I remember going to like Omaha, for example, we can spend 30 minutes talking to one person, whereas now I will spend, like, I'm guilty. I'll be the first one to say I make a mistake sometimes of, like, locking into a certain conversation, and although people are waiting around me, because I feel bad cutting people off, but at most, you're getting, like, 5 minutes with a certain person, at most, usually, like, 2 minutes. And St. Louis opened our eyes, so, like, we have to actually cap this now, because St. Louis, we had 500 people, like, 2 hours straight of just a quick, fast-moving line.
What is it about St. Louis? That's
just crazy.
That in terms of overperforming my expectations, St. Louis. I mean, I don't know if I could ever relate another event like that one.
Future. Time will tell.
It killed what I thought we would do there.
So that was the first time to where I would look back on an event and I was like, holy cow, now we got to start capping meet and greets, because that was legitimately an hour and a half to 2 hours of a line that was moving fast through everybody. Like the interactions weren't even that good. It was just so many people.
Yeah.
So it's trying to balance how many people can we accommodate to get as many as possible that can experience that, but also for those that do get to experience it, you want the interactions to be good. So it's trying to find that balance, you know?
Definitely.
But I mean, Jack, you were there in St. Louis. You saw how crazy that was.
Oh, yeah. St. Louis. I don't know if I said this on the podcast where we broke this down, but just that environment and having that many people there. I mean, this is going to sound silly, but like, I was legitimately like nervous before that series started with like all those people there. Like playing at the Meadows is one thing. It's kind of just a limited group of people, and you know, yeah, it's going to be on camera, but it gets intense at times. But I don't really feel like nervous a whole lot. Like that going out before, like having all the people cheering for us and like calling your name and stuff. Like I was legitimately nervous, as if I was nervous for like a lacrosse game I had or something. Like and that was a really cool. I hadn't had that feeling in a while, so that was really cool about that series.
What were the jitters like at Mercedes-Benz? Worse?
You know, I wouldn't say they were. I think the St. Louis series helped. I also even though there were still 300 plus people at Mercedes-Benz, it felt like a lot less than at St. Louis, because they were like right on top of us at St. Louis. So it was like
they really were.
It was like, you know, they were, if you were not like behind home plate, I mean, you had people in the crowd like talking to you like during the game. Like it was, they were right there. And I think that made it a little bit more like nerve-wracking. The Mercedes-Benz, you could kind of tune it out because it was like a little bit farther away.
That was probably more similar to your college athletics.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, and it helped having a little bit of experience, you know, once earlier that year. So
I remember Philly was sort of similar, but I was running around so much in Philly that I wasn't really standing in one spot for too long to where I could like interact with a certain person in the crowd like continuously. But I do remember one younger kid I was at the plate in the third game, and he's like, Tommy, hit a home run. Let's hit a bomb, TC3. I literally stepped out, and I was like, was 4 not enough? And he just laughed, and then I went back to hitting again. But, like, they were right behind me. Like, he wasn't talking loud. He was right there, and I just turned and talked to him in the middle of the at-bat, so that was funny.
I do like those environments, though. Like, if I could choose if they were, like, really close or, like, super far away, like, I would choose the really close option.
Yeah, I think St. Louis is, like, really ideal because it was, like, right behind everything, and it's a perfect view for everybody.
I know we probably already talked about this on a previous episode, but connecting a couple things that were said this podcast already. One, what Kyle said about just like, you know, when we're shooting at the Meadows, kind of just like doing funny things and putting it in or being creative or whatever, and interacting with the crowd. So I was obviously getting those lefty chants the whole series.
Yeah, you really felt the crowd.
And the first and I felt bad. Like I gave people what they want for a few at bats, and then I was like, okay, I can't actually keep doing this. But I remember like I went up for an at bat and I started righty, and then I asked Kyle, I was like, can I like bat left-handed? He's like, I don't care. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
and it made for, you know, a cool part of the video. Like, that was like, I remember actually asking Kyle, I was like, is it okay if I go do this? And he was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think it was based on the situation. That might have been when like Gus was struggling to find it, and he was just like walking everybody.
Give the people what they want, Jack.
But it wasn't even the nightcap. It was like from your first at bat in the daytime in the morning.
Yeah,
like it was from morning to sundown.
I think you even got some at Mercedes-Benz. You just like stepped out and shook your head, like not happening today, guys.
I was getting them there too. I couldn't do it there. Too much on the line.
I wonder if you'll still get them next year at all. I'm curious. I would think no, but I don't know. I mean, you know what it's like being a kid when you're involved with something and you watch something all the time. You don't forget things like that, so it might come back.
That was crazy.
Depends on how many times we recycle that clip on the Instagram.
Probably right.
We gotta just freshen the kids' minds.
Well, if you want us to, Jack, I'll post that the day before you play out of state. We can make it happen.
That's part of the jersey sale strategy.
Okay.
You got to repost that clip.
Okay.
You got to repost that.
Noted.
I was just gonna say that's like probably the first time ever where like a popular video drops and then like we have a huge event the next day. So, you know, obviously everybody that's going to these games is probably going to be, you know, a watcher that tunes in at Friday at 4, or if not a little bit later. And like, I don't know, we never had a situation like that. I don't think where there was a chant on the next day based on the previous day's videos. It was so cool.
Another great year for out-of-state events, and the next leg in the tour video was the National Championship out-of-state tournaments, both in Pennsylvania, being NWLA and UIFs. I think the highlight of this one was probably the Waffle House trip, which it's been a while now. I forget all the details, but that was very funny. And I think people are underestimating maybe, like, it was a movie.
Cratch is a funny guy. It runs in the family. I think he gets it from Greg. I don't even know how it transpired, but you get in a Waffle House. And mind you, I haven't been in a Waffle House many times, but
I'd never been until that time.
When you get in there, you just feel free. Feel like anything goes.
I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it was that specific Waffle House.
We were just making convo with their workers, and they're like super chill.
Well, yeah. So I was telling them like I've never been here before. Like I'm excited to try it, all this stuff, but I like hadn't even ordered yet. And they were just starting putting waffles in front of me. Like I was getting served, Jack, and I hadn't placed an order. They're just putting food in front of me. And I was like, "What is going on?" I definitely didn't pay for what I got.
Get waffles, baby.
I totally remember that. Wow.
I definitely didn't pay for what I got. I ended up paying for like this like breakfast assortment of like bacon and eggs and waffles. But I swear to you, before I placed an order for what I wanted, she was like, "You want to try a blueberry waffle? Here. You want a regular waffle? Here." It was just like getting food put in front of me, and I was like, I was starving, so I was like, "I'll take the food." But it was hilarious.
You get a waffle. You get a waffle. You get a waffle.
It was pretty much. She was slinging out waffles, and these waffles, those things were definitely twice my age. Those waffle makers, and I think it's just I think the more waffles you cook in one of those irons, the better each waffle gets. And the guy, what was the guy behind the counter? Joe. He was slinging out those waffles.
He was like grinding.
He was born to do it. He had like 3 different irons going at once. He's cooking bacon. He's cooking eggs, running back and forth, and then. You know, we were overtired. It had been a long day. We played 4 games that day. We hadn't eaten dinner, and it was midnight. So we're all overtired and laughing and joking around. And I don't know what happened. But, yeah, Cratch made a comment. And she's like, "Come on back." And she gave him an apron, and she gave us all visors. And just a nightmare. It was a hilarious nightmare. And all the people in there were looking at us like, what are these guys doing? But it was an experience, and it was funny. It was funny because on the way there, Cratch is like, he's like, guys, stuff just always goes down at Waffle House. He's like, some stuff's gonna happen. You're gonna think, how did that happen? And it ended up happening to him. He's like, I told you guys, stuff just happens. I'm like, Cratch, you made this whole situation happen. Like, you spoke this into existence. Like, you were trying to make something happen. It wasn't like she just gave you an apron. Like, you were egging it on the whole time. You were, what's the word? Like, you were in
confirmation
situation.
bias.
Yeah, you made the situation to what you wanted it to be. A lot like me at an arcade. I know it's gonna be a movie because I'm gonna be making things happen. So hilarious.
Crash just manifested it.
He did. He manifested it very well. And I would go back. It can't be healthy for you, but man, those waffles, when you're hungry, you butter them up, Jack. They are fantastic.
Nothing better. Just real quick shout out to everybody that attended the Fan Fest at NWA, as well as UIFs. And then big congrats to everybody that got invited to the U17 Invitational, and especially the VWL Flamingos, who got the title. They have won a bunch of MLW tournaments, and they're always competitive, and were competitive the year before in the U17 Invitational, but very deserving team to get the dub there.
That bomb was so clutch.
Hayden Wisman, man.
Hayden. That was sick. That was an absolute bomb.
Yeah, so they were facing Jackson Bloom, who's a really good pitcher from BLW. He played, I think he's from California, but he was playing with BLW, and he was on that day, and I didn't think anybody would touch him. I thought it would go, into extras and super far into extras with backup pitchers and that kind of thing, but Hayden, he got a piece in one, man, and it just left. And
it was a bomb.
I think it was like a windy day too, and like there weren't a lot of home runs on the field, I believe, but he got all of that one.
Yeah, that was sick. It was a good pitch too. I mean, it was down the middle, but it had a lot of movement on it.
Yeah, I think the final score was like 1-0, like, or whatever that home run was. But I'm glad that it ended on like a cool moment like that, or not ended, but it was decided by that as opposed to like walks or something.
Yeah,
kind of lame. So
yeah,
shout out to the Flamingos.
Very cool. Very cool. Shout out to Flamingos. Shout out to Waffle House. This is not sponsored.
Oh, by the way, Sean Hornberger, tourney MVP.
Tourney MVP.
Gotta give him get the name in there.
The Southpaw?
Yes.
He's a good dude.
Yep.
Good, promising young whiffler out of the great state of Wisconsin.
That's right.
Home of the cheese. Last segment. Tournament circuit.
Yep.
Again, we've already talked a lot about all of the tournaments we did for this year. My only question for you, Kyle, is so last year it was Illinois, it was Michigan, it was New York, and it was Texas. Do we think those will be the 4 this year? Maybe a new one? Maybe take one away? What's the vibe as of right now?
Oh, yeah. We're coming back.
That's the plan?
Michigan will be back, and New York will be back. Event dates we'll be announcing very soon, but very similar, if not the exact same weekends as 2023. Texas is the only one that we really haven't agreed to, but right now I don't have any reason to not go back. And I don't know, the whole Josh Young aspect and how he loves playing wiffle with us down there, and everybody shows out down there, that's another one that's very probable of doing. So stay tuned very shortly on social media for those announcement posts.
The Texas weather really broke my heart this year, though, I must say.
Past 2 years, it's been really rainy and
no,
cold.
But it was warm the first time, though.
I guess we've been 3 years now.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. So maybe year 1 it was warm.
Year 1 is perfect.
Yeah.
Year 2 we had to deal with a storm and delays.
Yeah, the fields.
And then last year's just cold. So I guess we never had a similar situation each year.
Very cold. And I didn't play good this year at all. I think I tried to pitch and it was bad. I got dragged off the mound. We talked about that already.
MLW Blue took home some titles, didn't we, Jack? In Midwest.
I won my first tournament.
That's crazy.
My first tournament.
Me, you,
Good
Russell, and JP took down.
Yep.
I think it was Tommy Sawyer and Norp in the title game.
I went to the title. Oh, at least I got a medal.
Yeah.
That's probably the only title game I've been to in many years.
JP pitched a bunch for us in that tournament, and then I didn't draft him at all in the redraft.
In the mock draft, JP just slid and slid and slid. But
Oh,
I never heard from JP himself. I wonder if he feels like he got disowned a bit there.
Because
But
why would he want to talk to us, Tommy?
He's a
that's
humble,
true.
he's a humble man.
Maybe I'm shunned. Maybe I'm shunned by JP. It wasn't intentional, and I didn't really.
Where did I don't remember
I
exactly.
think it was the 4th round, right, Jack?
It was way too late.
I stole him.
What are some guys you had above him?
It was way too late.
Many guys.
Dang.
Like 30
Many
guys,
guys.
probably.
Dang.
I don't know. I don't know. Once again, it was just we were going.
It is what it is.
I think I snagged him, and I made the Gators really good, in my opinion. Gators are a good team in that mock draft. I think they're a great young team.
There's a lot of good players in this league, folks.
There is. It's all about getting hot at the right time. But that was the tour. There was the bloopers, of course. I found the Jack. You finishing the lyrics with Jimmy, and what was that in separate ways? That was funny. Norp and those kids was funny, but I'm sure there was a lot more bloopers too that you came across.
I know. I could have put so many in, but
Could have been a whole 12-minute video.
I pretty much could have, but those were the best. I probably want to just keep it at that.
So many good memories.
The blooper that I was in was funny to me because I forgot that happened, and then I was not expecting that at all. I also like the kid. I think he was just like, hit the like button.
He's a mainstay
That's
on
a
this
cameo.
channel.
Yeah, that was a.
I'm just gonna make that a yearly thing.
Yeah.
But it'll be the final
That
clip
was
in every
great.
tour
I
video
love
if he
that.
keeps coming back. I think his name's Liam.
I love that one.
He's a UF staple
it.
fan.
I remember you liked that last year too. You're like, shout out to the kid who was just like spamming hit that like button. Like, that was
I probably said it last year. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, that's
I think
hilarious.
I think he's been to all 3 of those fan fests, and I think he's done that every time.
Yeah, it's so many events over the years. Crazy to think about. You truly do forget them.
Yep.
Let's move into this week's comment of the week from that tour video, and it's regards to MLW trivia. The comment is, one dude looks embarrassed he knew the answer because he looked so old. I'm 35 watching this. Guys are staying kids and having fun. No reason to be embarrassed. Great job, guys, and congratulations on your success. Thank you so much for that comment. And we've said it before, Kyle. We have a lot of closet older fans.
Are they talking about Nate?
Yeah.
He's been college age.
I know, but most of the trivia is for younger kids.
Okay, true.
So, but I
Now-
just think it's funny because everyone's like, I'm 35 and I watch this. That's the case for a lot of people.
No, total respect to you guys. You guys are not in like, I would like, maybe you're in the minority, but
They are, but
it's not like
not
vast.
rare,
You're
yeah.
just not as loud as these kids in the comments and in these in-person events. Like, it's not. It's our fan base has grown up with us,
Yeah.
and so it's not weird when you have college age kids or even older parents that get into it because of their kids. Like, I think that's probably the number one misconception of us is like, although we have a predominant demo of like maybe 10 to 16 or 17, like you know, the adult age range is prominent.
My absolute favorite. If you guys don't know, I love socializing with the dads. It's just something I've always enjoyed. And my absolute favorite is when like a dad walks up, for example, and he has 2 kids with him. And the kids are kind of shy looking, not as into it as you might think. And the dad is just smiling ear to ear. And you're like, what's up, man? My name's Joe. These are my 2 kids. And he's just talking and talking and talking. And he's talking like his kids are these huge fans of the channel, but I can tell this guy is so bought in that he dragged his kids
You can
along.
tell he just
as a
dragged
cover.
his
Yes.
kids there
He
so
dragged
that he
his
could
kids
get some
there.
autographs.
So he wasn't the weird dad by himself at the event. But once again, there's no shame in it. It happens more than you think, and there's no reason to be embarrassed. We all know, guys. We all have things that we watch on TikTok or Instagram Reels that are kind of weird. We might not be super proud of. For me, it's all food videos. All I watch on Instagram and TikTok is cooking videos, cooking tutorials, different food reviews. It's all I watch. So would it be a little weird if I showed up at a meet and greet for some foodie TikToker? It would. But you know what? We all have to have things that we like to be entertained by. So don't be embarrassed by it.
My favorite thing at like every event, real quick, Jack, my favorite thing is, this has like a 100% success rate, but I'll get like, so there'll be at least like 1 or 2 dads every single time that'll like be so infatuated by the business aspects of it and give me like so many different business proposals of like, oh, I know a buddy that works at this complex, or I know a stadium here that would be really great for you guys. And I get that every single time, and I love that. And then the moms differ in being like, my kid is having so much fun. Like, you're giving, this is his best day of summer. Like, he's been talking about this all year. Like, it's so funny, the contrast of the moms and dads that talk to me and being like, one of them's more focused on just the how crazy it is that we've just scaled this thing, and that they share our passion for what it could be as well. And then the moms are just super happy that their kids are having a good time.
Nothing better.
100% success rate. Every event I've ever done, I get a conversation with that, and I love it every time.
I just want to say, I don't think that being an adult and liking this channel and watching this channel and being a fan of it is weird at all.
It's the same as like Dude Perfect.
We're a sports channel. Like we just because we're kid friendly doesn't mean that we're only for kids.
It's like going to a PG movie with adults in the cast, you know? And being a fan of that movie.
Yeah, and there's a ton of great PG movies out there.
Exactly.
I mean,
Screaming, phenomenal.
I don't think there's so many adults out there that are like so obsessed with sports players, like professional sports players. Like, wouldn't you be a little bit embarrassed of that too? Like you're putting all your time and energy into like just another adult. Like in their sports career, like what's the difference? I don't see that's embarrassing at all.
Yeah, no, we are a competitive league. Like you think about college sports,
Right.
high school sports. Like you think about all the adults out there that are in like recruits DMs on Twitter trying to get them to come to their school.
Well, yeah,
that's not. Don't do that.
That's actually the perfect segue because
But I'm just saying, like, yeah,
I think
adults are interested in this kind of stuff
I think
of our
it's
age range.
more about how the content is being presented and consumed.
Yeah.
I think adults, it's not as common for an adult to be on YouTube all the time. So like a lot of their friends probably aren't into it because they're not on YouTube. They're watching TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably a big reason why. Because if we were on TV, I think we'd have a lot more adult fans because that's how they're used to consuming content versus YouTube. But for the adults that are on YouTube, good for you. It's the cool thing to do. It's the new wave. It's been the new wave for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why they feel weird because they don't think any of their buddies watch it because none of their friends are on YouTube. None of their peers are on YouTube.
That makes sense. I just don't see a difference in how you spend your time looking at a screen watching sports, whether it's on YouTube or TV. I see what you're saying, but like in terms of being like self-conscious about it, I don't see why. Like I just encourage all you adult fans out there to come out to these events and like they're fun. They're a great time, whether you're a kid and you're 15 or you're 35. It's a blast.
I like food videos, guys. I'm owning it. I love food videos.
Tommy, the only thing I would push back on what you said about TV is I think there actually are a lot of adults that watch YouTube, but they watch adult content on YouTube, things that like kids would not watch. And that's what I think why it's like a little bit more why they might feel embarrassed because they're like, oh, I watched this channel that's like a kid friendly. You know, we're definitely more, I would say, marketed towards kids, just because that's the nature of our demographic. But like, I do think that there are a lot of adults that watch YouTube sports all types of content that might just be a little bit more like adult focused.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Well, we appreciate all you guys, from adults to kids, all you guys fans. Yeah, come on by. And for all you that did in 2023 and now moving into 2024, whether you're 8 years old or you're 80 years old, we do appreciate it. We appreciated all the experiences we had meeting all of you and interacting with you, and it's truly the best feeling. I love meeting new people and just chatting it up, and it's cool to make someone's day. Leave it at that. But that's my final comments on the tour.
Absolutely,
another great tour. Thanks for your comment again. That was the comment of the week. And finally, guys, to conclude this podcast, by high demand, we don't have all the details yet, but a lot of you guys that have listened to this show, of course, are big fans of MLW, very tuned into the channel, and are like, what's going on with the channel? What's going on with the channel? Because you've noticed how things have been changing. We've had like different videos popping up on our channel, so we have been dealing with some cybersecurity issues. We'll keep it brief here, Kyle, but just what kind of, I know you've been dying to kind of come on here and give an update to the fans as to like what they've been seeing on the channel. So what kind of light can you shed as to what's been going on behind the scenes and how we're working to resolve those problems?
Yes. So I have been receiving a lot of messages and DMs and stuff.
Which we do appreciate, by the way.
Your love and support has been everything the past 3 weeks, but the past 3 weeks have been awful.
It's all right.
Just losing access to the channel for the first time ever in 15 years. But it just sucked because you build something up for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And like seeing your accounts get compromised and everything vanishing before your eyes, you get traumatized.
Yeah, it's so scary, and there's like nothing you can really do. Like we know how it started, but then when you try to resolve things, like it's so far out of your control. And you'd think you'd get like better support from Google and stuff, but it's really not that hands-on.
I can go a little more in depth. So, so for the first time in like 14, 15 years, I fell for what I believed and trusted to be a true sponsor proposal. And through a couple emails of correspondence of them looking legit, being legit, usually in this case, spam proposals, phishing emails, they would go to my spam. This one didn't. No spelling errors. And I'm not going to say what company they pretended to be because I don't want to bring bad publicity to them because they have nothing to do with it. But after going back and forth and me doing the same thing of being like our brand aligns with your brand, like we want to pursue this. They sent me a PDF that had a file in it that when I clicked on it, it had like the breakdown of what their proposal was with the financial breakdown, what they would be expecting of us.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a media kit. It was not a financial breakdown. It is what you call an executable that when you open it up, it launches malware onto your computer.
Mm-hmm.
After doing a lot of research on this the past 3 weeks, what I learned is that it's called like a session hijack, that they pretty much can forego all 2FA stuff that we did have on the channel. A lot of people were like, you guys need to up your security, but it didn't matter because of what the details of what kind of like malware was put onto my computer. So basically they were able to just use my cookies and past login sessions to just go right in and do whatever they want. And so this happened on like February 13th.
But that was like
I was just bombarded
2 weeks after the initial phishing email, right? Around there? A week or two?
Yeah. And a couple of days after, like, I think I last talked to them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, the next day, like within the 1 minute, it's like your account was new sign in, password changed, 2FA changed.
30 emails in a minute. Yeah, it's so scary.
It is so scary, and I was just like, this isn't happening. This is not real.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, me and you, like, kind of just crisis managed this, and we're like contacting like Team YouTube on Twitter, and then also got like a form link from Google to get the account back, and thankfully we did, and thankfully we got everything back. And since then have cleared the malware from the computer and stuff, but we're still in a situation where like these things are kind of continuing to happen, and I still feel very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And not safe.
Yeah, we're still dealing with it. You guys may have noticed like some blips in the last couple of weeks, but we've kind of figured out how to quickly recover things. But it's definitely still an ongoing situation. So if you guys know someone at Google who can help us out, we would love that very much.
You guys know anybody in the cybersecurity space or other people that have been hacked like this, can you please send them our way so I can contact them to see how they fix this?
We need a human contact.
Because Google won't get on the phone with anybody, and they've been really awesome. I don't want to like berate them, but
no, I mean,
it's just been like,
it's what you'd expect from a huge company.
Really awful 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't ever get like this. But this is like your kid getting kidnapped.
Yeah, it is. And Kyle did want to come on here because we do appreciate everyone who's like DM'd us or emailed us saying like, I saw this happen. Like, I saw someone else this happen to, contact them. All the additional help you guys have offered, even if it's like, hey, did you guys notice this? Like, yes, we did notice it, but we appreciate you extending help anyways. Yes. It does mean a lot to us. So we're going to keep chugging away, hopefully get it resolved within the coming weeks. And for now, just know that it's ongoing. And we do, again, want to reiterate that we appreciate all of the additional support and resources you guys have tried to provide to help. It does mean a lot. So we're going to keep battling, keep fighting. Also, I think you wanted to say too, to rejog your brain a little bit, like, be careful what you download, what you click on. Those things can definitely make a big difference. So always take precaution. You don't think it can happen to you until it does. And it's only going to get worse in the coming years as AI gets more intense and everything becomes more and more and more digital. Everyone's becoming more and more and more liable. So this has definitely like opened up my eyes to a lot of like my personal stuff.
Anybody that could help to make sure this doesn't happen again. I'm looking for anything right now, but appreciate all the support you guys have given.
For sure. So that's what's going on with that. Wanted to fill you guys in. We know you guys we've been seeing the comments, of course. We wanted to try to handle it correctly, and it's still ongoing, of course, which is scary. So that's why we haven't said much, but now you're at least somewhat in the loop. Yes, it is still sort of an ongoing situation, despite us being in current ownership of the channel. It's still like a back and forth thing, and we've been battling with the hijackers still. So that's what's been going on in our world on our day-to-day basis. That's a big reason why, too, this tour video was a week later than we wanted it to be, because we've been dealing with this, and it's just a big stressful thing, and it takes time out of your day that you weren't planning on budgeting and that sort of thing. So again, appreciate all the support on that. But we'll provide hopefully a good news update in a few weeks here. But thank you guys for tuning in. On a more positive note, appreciate all the listenership the last month or so. Appreciate everyone who showed love in the comments on the tour video and enjoyed that one. And other than that, Jack, that's going to be a wrap. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Fun fact, you're not safe on the internet, so be careful.
Be careful on the internet. We'll see you all next Tuesday.
Pipe it up. Pipe it up.